A federal judge looked at the evidence, and he said something most judges never say out loud. Depravity and psychopathy, lack of remorse, can snap at any time. He was talking about a 16-year-old boy accused of murdering his stepsister aboard a cruise ship. 18-year-old Anna Kepner, found dead in cabin 8343 on the Carnival Horizon, November 7, 2025. Her stepbrother, Timothy Hudson, is charged with her murder. The judge thinks he is dangerous, genuinely dangerous. But here is where the case falls apart. Prosecutors cannot prove with DNA who strangled her. They have the sexual assault evidence. That is airtight, 126 to 1. He did that. But the strangulation? The mechanism of death that killed her? No forensic proof. No DNA. Nothing. A dangerous teenager. A dead girl. And evidence that does not connect the two. In 6 weeks, a jury will decide. And nobody knows what they will choose. This is the case mainstream media missed. The evidence gaps they overlooked. The family dysfunction they downplayed. This is federal case 26 CR 20031, and it does not have the ending you expect. Welcome to True Crime Site, where we investigate cases mainstream media missed, the details they overlooked, the questions that demand answers. I am your host, and today's case? Federal Case 26 CR 20031, United States versus Timothy Hudson. A cruise ship murder that exposed how a blended family's dysfunction created a perfect storm. Before we dive in, I need 2 things from you. First, subscribe to True Crime Site. Ring the notification bell for September trial coverage. Second, tell us where you are watching from. Dopa como. We want to know who is investigating this case with us. Now, let us get into it. This is the story of Anna Kepner, of Timothy Hudson, of a cruise ship, of a family that fractured, and of a question that will be answered in a federal courtroom. Everything you are about to hear is documented. Every name is real. Every quote comes from court transcripts or verified media reports. Anna Marie Kepner was born June 13, 2007, in Titusville, Florida. Her father is Christopher Kepner, a crane operator. Her mother is Heather Wright. When Anna was 4, they split. Heather was excluded from Anna's life. She moved to Oklahoma. When Anna died, Christopher asked her not to come to the funeral. But Heather had a sister, Crystal Wright. In December 2025, Crystal told the Daily Mail something different. She said the family was fractured long before the cruise. She said Anna felt increasingly uncomfortable in her own home. She said Anna was not really wanting to go on the trip. Anna's paternal side told a different story. Her grandmother, Barbara Collins Kepner, called Anna her sunshine. Her grandfather, Jeffrey Kepner, was protective and deeply involved in her life. At Temple Christian School, Anna was on the varsity cheer team. She was a straight-A student who had already earned enough credits to graduate in 2026. In May 2025, she was baptized at the Grove Church. Her faith was blossoming. Her future was bright. She had been accepted to the University of Georgia. She wanted to serve in the military and make a difference. Everyone who knew her said the same thing. She was thoughtful, nurturing, always thinking of others. She loved her siblings deeply and made sure they always felt it, whether taking them to the park, to Halloween Horror Nights, or just out for fun. That was who Anna was. Bubbly, never filtered, full of life. Her favorite color was blue. This is who Anna Kepner was. A girl with real dreams. A girl with genuine potential. A girl who was loved by the people around her and who loved them back fiercely. But something happened to this girl. Something that started long before she died. Something that involved a boy, a blended family, and decisions that would end in tragedy. In December 2024, Christopher Kepner married Chantel Hudson. Chantel came with 3 children from her previous marriage to Thomas Hudson. Suddenly, Anna was part of a blended family with step-siblings she barely knew. Timothy Hudson was 16 years old. He had been diagnosed with ADHD. He was on medication for insomnia. But here is where the narrative split. Chantel would later testify that Timothy and Anna were like best friends, that they were close, that they requested to share a cabin together on an upcoming cruise. But Crystal Wright told a different story. Anna just was not comfortable with the boy. Anna was worried about him. It has been like that almost the entire time they have lived together. Two narratives, same family, completely opposite interpretations. Months before the cruise, something happened that makes the best friend's narrative collapse entirely. Anna was in her room, FaceTiming with her ex-boyfriend. Timothy Hudson climbed into the bed. He was trying to get in bed with Anna while she was asleep. The boyfriend yelled at Timothy through the phone. Timothy ran out of the room. When the boyfriend told Anna what he saw, her response revealed everything. She told him she was hesitant to tell her father. Why? Timothy had knives. He carried knives. And she was afraid of him. Afraid enough to not report him. Afraid enough to keep it secret. An 18-year-old girl, in her own home, afraid of her 16-year-old stepbrother. That is not normal teenage awkwardness. That is genuine fear rooted in his behavior. No one stopped it. No one protected Anna. No one took action because no one official knew. The surveillance cameras auto-deleted footage every 30 days. The incident happened months before. The evidence was gone, and Anna did not tell her father. She was too afraid. She told her boyfriend. She told him about the knives. She told him about her fear. She trusted him with information she could not share with her own parent. But she did not tell the person who could have protected her. She did not feel safe enough. And that is the most damning detail of all. That fear stayed inside her. It grew. It festered. And it would follow her onto a cruise ship, where she would be trapped with the person she feared most. According to Inside Edition, Timothy Hudson allegedly had an obsession with Anna. He wanted to date her. He pursued her. He had what was described as a crazy infatuation. So which was it? Were they best friends? Or was Anna afraid? The answer was becoming clear. Anna was afraid. Anna was uncomfortable. And she was about to be placed in a confined space with this boy. On a cruise ship, in a cabin, alone at night, with a boy she feared. November 2nd, 2025. Port Miami. 8 family members boarded the Carnival Horizon for a 6-day cruise. Christopher Kepner, Chantel Hudson Kepner, Anna Kepner, Timothy Hudson, Anna's 14-year-old half-brother, Anna's 10-year-old half-sister, grandparents Barbara and Jeffrey Kepner. Cabin assignments. Anna, Timothy, and the 14-year-old half-brother shared one cabin. Christopher and Chantel shared an adjacent cabin. Anna was across the hallway from her father, close enough he could intervene if needed, far enough he would not know what was happening. November 6, 2025. Dinner time. Anna complained. Mouth pain from braces. Upset stomach. She took butalbital, a pain medication. She excused herself and went back to the cabin to rest. Surveillance footage shows what happened next. 7:35 p.m. Timothy enters cabin 8343. 7:38 p.m. Anna enters. They were alone. 7:51 p.m. Anna's half-brother briefly enters. He sees Anna alive. This is the last independent confirmation of her being alive. 8:14 p.m. Anna uses Snapchat. She is still breathing. Still conscious. Then silence. 8:14 to 10:13 p.m. Nearly 2 hours. The crime window. During this time, Anna's Apple Watch stopped transmitting her heart rate data. The digital proof of life disappeared. 10:13 p.m. Timothy checks the hallway. Both ways. Deliberate. Calculated. He is checking if anyone is watching. Then he exits. and Anna Kepner never emerges from that room again. Later that night, Timothy places a sign on the cabin door. Around midnight, Anna's half-brother tries to re-enter. Timothy blocks him and yells, "I am changing." When Timothy finally allows him in, the boy notices something odd. All the lights are on. Everything is abnormally illuminated. The boy goes to sleep. He unknowingly sleeps next to his sister's body, hidden under the bed, wrapped in a blanket, concealed by life vests. November 7th, 2025, 11:24 a.m. A cabin steward opens cabin 8343 for routine cleaning. He checks under the bed, a human form, wrapped in a blanket. When Anna's body was discovered, Timothy Hudson was an emotional mess. He broke down. He could not remember anything. Nothing. Complete amnesia about the previous evening. On November 9th, Timothy Hudson was involuntarily committed under Florida's Baker Act. He was taken to a medical facility and placed on psychiatric hold. In a text message to her ex-husband, Chantel wrote, "He just keeps repeating over and over he cannot remember anything." The Miami-Dade Medical Examiner's Office conducted the autopsy. Dr. Jonathan Connicarage performed the examination. Cause of death, mechanical asphyxiation. She was strangled. Neck bruising consistent with an arm held across her throat. Multiple bruise patterns suggesting sustained force. Strangulation duration, 3 to 5 minutes of sustained pressure. 3 to 5 minutes of pressure, not a moment of rage. 3 to 5 minutes. Sustained, deliberate pressure until she stopped breathing. Sexual assault evidence. Anna had been sexually assaulted. Her underwear was twisted, indicating force. The medical examiner ruled the manner of death as homicide, intentional homicide. This is what the evidence showed. A girl was strangled and sexually assaulted, but then came the DNA evidence. 2 DNA samples recovered from Anna's body matched Timothy Hudson's DNA profile. The statistical probability was staggering. The DNA mixture was 126 stillion times more likely if Anna Kepner and Timothy Hudson were both contributors than if Anna and an unknown person were contributors. This was biological proof. Scientific, measurable, undeniable. His DNA was on her. He sexually assaulted her. That part is proven beyond any forensic doubt. But in May 2026, unsealed court transcripts revealed something prosecutors did not want widely known. There is no DNA evidence directly linking Timothy Hudson to the strangulation itself. An FBI agent was asked under oath, "Is there any DNA evidence on Anna's neck? On her throat?" His answer, "I do not think they made that determination." Translation, there was no definitive physical evidence proving who strangled her. The sexual assault evidence is airtight, but the mechanism of death, the actual strangulation that took 3 to 5 minutes, has no forensic link to Timothy Hudson. This gap is where reasonable doubt lives. If you cannot prove with DNA evidence who strangled her, how can you prove beyond a reasonable doubt that it was Timothy Hudson? But prosecutors have consciousness of guilt evidence. The sign placed on the cabin door, the smashed phone in the trash bin, the hallway check at 10:13 p.m., the morning after behavior, acting normal while his sister was hidden under a bed. Prosecutor Alejandra L. Lopez described this as a barbaric, intentional, thoughtful act, calculated murder. But all of this is circumstantial. All of this requires a jury to connect dots. The DNA evidence on the sexual assault is proof. That is a fact. The DNA evidence on the strangulation does not exist. And that is the prosecution's problem. That is the crack in the foundation of their case. Federal law requires proof beyond a reasonable doubt. The DNA gets them halfway there. But the strangulation, the actual killing, the act that ended her life, has no DNA proof. That is a question the jury will face in September. An 18-year-old girl expressed fear of her 16-year-old stepbrother. She was afraid of his behavior. She was afraid of his knives. She did not feel safe reporting it to her father, yet she was placed in a confined space with him, on a cruise ship, at night, with no adult supervision who knew about the danger. The warning signs existed. They were documented. They were ignored. Her father did not know about her fear, or if he did not act on it. Her stepmother claimed they were best friends. She said the cabin arrangement was their choice. Her biological mother had been kept out of her life entirely. Her aunt, Crystal Wright, knew something was wrong, but she was not in a position to intervene. So Anna ended up in cabin 8343 with the boy she feared, alone, at night, trapped. June 2026. Chantel's stepmother spoke publicly for the first time. Sonia is not a stranger to this family. She helped raise Timothy Hudson. She was close to him. She loved him. But she was also watching from the outside, seeing things no one else was saying. Sonia said, the lack of parental supervision on a floating city. Putting 3 teenagers, 2 boys and a girl in a room together that were not raised together. It is just a recipe for disaster. She said Chantel's response to the incident was to tell family, whatever you do, just do not talk to media. A gag order. Silence. On the family isolation issue, Sonia stated, she kept them isolated from everybody over here, from their dad, from their grandparents, from all of us. So I do not know the past 2 years. I do not know if he was angry. I do not know his mental state. I do not know any of that. On Timothy's character and consistency, Sonia said, I am not saying he did or he did not. His life is over, whether he is innocent or guilty. But she went further. Sonia called for criminal charges against Christopher and Anna Kepner for parental neglect. She believed they should be held criminally responsible for failing to protect Anna. The parents, in her view, did not just fail their daughter. They potentially enabled the tragedy by their inaction and isolation of the children. As of June 2026, Timothy Hudson lives with Sonia Zisk in the Tampa area. Chantel has expelled her own son from her home. He is not welcome. When the adult indictment was announced, Christopher Kepner released a statement. The situation is deeply painful and complex for the entire family. We are placing trust in the justice system. At the same time, we are deeply troubled that he has not been taken into custody. Notice what he did not say. He did not defend Timothy. He did not say there was a terrible mistake. Christopher Kepner had to live in the same house as his daughter's accused killer. His wife expelled her own son. The family was fractured. Everything was broken. But the larger question remains. An 18-year-old girl was afraid. A system failed to protect her. And now a jury will decide Timothy Hudson's fate. But that verdict will not undo what happened before the crime. That verdict will not bring back Anna Kepner. February 3rd, 2026. Timothy Hudson is formally arrested. He pleads not guilty. February 23rd, 2026. Timothy signs a waiver requesting to be tried as an adult. He will face adult sentencing. He will face life imprisonment. April 13th, 2026. U.S. Attorney Jason A. Redding Quinones and Prosecutor Alejandra L. Lopez announced the adult indictment. Timothy Hudson is charged with first-degree murder and aggravated sexual abuse. Maximum penalty, life imprisonment. June 10th, 2026. U.S. Magistrate Judge Edwin G. Torres reverses his earlier decision. He finds the government's evidence is exceptionally strong. He references a level of depravity and psychopathy and lack of remorse that by itself raises a serious concern that defendant can snap at any time. Judge Torres orders Hudson detained pending trial. June 16th, 2026. The order is unsealed. Timothy Hudson surrenders to U.S. Marshals. He is taken into federal custody. September 8, 2026. Trial begins. Prosecutors will present the DNA evidence from the sexual assault. 126 to 1. Proof beyond reasonable doubt. They will hammer this point because it is their strongest evidence. They will present the timeline. The surveillance footage showing Timothy entering, exiting, checking the hallway, the Apple Watch going silent, the Snapchat timestamp, the forensic timeline, the consciousness of guilt evidence, a methodical presentation designed to show premeditation, not accident. They will present Dr. Connicar's findings, the medical examiner's evidence of sustained strangulation pressure, violent force, a deliberate killing, not a crime of passion, but a calculated act. They will present the prior incident, Anna's fear, the ex-boyfriend's testimony about Timothy trying to get into her bed, evidence of escalating boundary violations and obsessive behavior. They will paint a pattern of escalation that culminated in murder. But their weakness is clear. They do not have DNA evidence on the strangulation. Defense attorneys will exploit this gap. Eric Cohen, Abigail Becker, and Evan Cool will argue multiple people had access to the cabin. They will argue the same person who sexually assaulted Anna is not necessarily the same person who killed her. They will create reasonable doubt by asking, if the DNA proves sexual assault, why is there no DNA on the mechanism of death? Why is there no DNA on her neck? On her throat? If he strangled her with his hands, where is the evidence? They will ask the jury, if you cannot prove beyond a reasonable doubt with DNA who strangled her, how can you convict a 16-year-old of murder? And that is where the trial will be won or lost. That is the central tension. That is the question that will determine Timothy Hudson's fate. Federal law requires proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Whether the jury believes circumstantial evidence is enough. Whether they believe his behavior indicates guilt. Whether the consciousness of guilt evidence is persuasive enough. That will determine Timothy Hudson's fate. We will have the answer in September. But before we close, there is something we need to remember. Anna Marie Kepner was born June 13, 2007. She died November 6, 2025. She was 18 years old. She was a straight-A student. She was a cheerleader. She was baptized. She was accepted to University of Georgia. She wanted to serve her country. She loved her siblings. She was bubbly and funny and full of life. She had dreams. She had a future. She had everything to live for. Her favorite color was blue. This is Federal Case 26 CR 20031. This is United States versus Timothy Hudson. Trial begins September 8, 2026. We will be there. We will be covering every development. We will be seeking the truth. Whether the jury convicts or acquits, one fact remains unchanged. A system failed Anna Kepner. A girl expressed fear and was not protected. A girl was placed in danger by the adults who should have kept her safe. A girl is dead. The trial will answer whether Timothy Hudson murdered her, but it will not answer why the people who loved her did not listen when she was afraid. Thank you for investigating this case with us. Thank you for caring about what happened to Anna Kepner. Thank you for understanding that her story matters not because of the sensational details, but because her death was preventable. Her fear was real, her silence was understood, and her life mattered. Subscribe to True Crime Site for trial updates. Tell us where you are watching from. Share this story. Anna Kepner deserves to be remembered, not just as a victim, but as a bright, beautiful girl who deserved protection, who deserved to be heard.